pray. You better pray. They'll be here about a month, but you better pray that like 24 hours. All right, guys, you're jumping in on your mid conversation about future plans. You know what happens when you plan? You make plans and God laughs, right? I don't know. It's like it's a saying, and it's like somewhat taken from in the Bible, where like the nations did whatever, and then God was laughing at them. That's nice. Okay, I think somebody just tried to call. So okay. Anyway, so yeah. So anyway, we're gonna hit the ground running today because we don't have much time. We don't have much time before something starts again. I don't even want to say war. I don't want to say the W word. I don't want to say fighting, but something is about to happen, and it looks like, as far as the news from 1 minute ago, which can change in the next minute, it looks like there may not be talks. There may not, that may fail completely. And if that fails, then what would happen? So if you just look at the last couple hours of news, then you see the back and forth between things are going great, and then they better come to the table and talk, and they better make peace. Then you hear they're refusing to go to the table. Then you hear that JD Vance is on his way to Pakistan for talks. What is this?
It's avocado, tuna, rice.
Raya just made a tortilla. It's on your bed, buried on your bed. My goodness. All right, you can take your tortilla back. That's awesome. That looks like you need two hands with that. Okay. All right. So before we get into the crazy back and forth, I just want to say hello to Carol and John, and hello to Walter. But Walter, not just hello, but happy birthday. Because yesterday when I did not do a live, I saw it was your birthday on Facebook. I mean, I saw on Facebook it was your birthday. So
I don't know why I'm doing that face. We may see when you get it from here.
Right. So yeah. Anyway.
Sorry,
yeah, that was.
So
yeah, that was. This is not your Snapchat account, please.
Ew.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So oh wait, I forgot about this. Yes. Look. See, we get to put I don't have Tony here to remind me to put up the chats and to tell people, hey, if you're watching on YouTube, which if you are, that's awesome. If you could hit like and share, that would be great. It would help my channel, that's for sure. It would help get news like this out further, and also, I mean, you and Facebook as well. That's awesome. So okay, and hi to Raya, who has already left. So yeah, she just left the room. So anyway, so let's talk about what is going on, because you know that we're in the midst of a double ceasefire between the US and Iran, and then a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, which is actually like Hezbollah. And so what is happening with those ceasefires? Well, in Iran, we can say that as far as I know, there is no fighting going on in Iran. There are no missiles being launched by Iran. So that ceasefire is holding. However, there's a lot going on there behind the scenes. Of course, there's the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has blocked the Strait of Hormuz, or they're saying they're controlling it. And so all ships that pass through are going to be subject to them. They want to collect a toll for that. At one point, it was going to be something like, was it $2 million or something like that per passage? Now, another issue going on there is the U.S. then blockaded the Strait of Hormuz so that none of Iran's, the ships that Iran allowed out could get out. And apparently, I think it was Iran that fired at some ships yesterday that were trying to get through. So what, that is still an ongoing crisis, and that is going to have economic impact, not just for the world, as we talked about, that obviously you're going to feel it whether you are in the US or wherever you are, but also in Iran itself, because if they cannot get past the naval blockade, they are losing their own revenue from the ships that they would be sending out. So, Carol just said that YouTube didn't connect. If any of you guys are actually watching uh, from YouTube, let me know that it's working. But I had some people just text me on the side and say that it didn't work. So yeah, so things are getting very interesting for sure. And hello to Tammy from Fort Worth. Awesome. Thank you for joining. So has the US stopped any ships? I think that I don't know enough about that to say anything. I don't think any ships have gotten through, but I could be wrong. You know what? Don't quote me on the Strait of Hormuz. That's not my expertise. Not that anything is at this point, because it's all crazy. It is all crazy. But I don't know about whether any ships have been stopped. I think there were some ships fired upon, but I don't know for sure what's happening. And okay, Charlie says working here, but Charlie, according to my Restream program, it says you're on Facebook, not YouTube. So let me know if you're watching from Facebook or YouTube, because YouTube might be the problem. And that would be a problem. That would be annoying. Okay, Janice is on YouTube. So awesome. Okay, so it is working. So it's possible, Carol, that you connected before I actually started or something like that. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, technology is beyond me today. And hi, Janice, by the way, thank you for joining. Today, I was so happy to make a video on Instagram. And then when I put it out with music, and then I automatically, it normally shares to Facebook and Threads, but this time it didn't, because I used music from the platform. And so it's probably like a copyright issue to drag the music from one platform to another. And I was like, just when you think you can crack the technological nut, you can't. So anyway, okay, never mind my technology woes. Meanwhile, China just showed like a robot running a marathon. I'm so jealous. There was just the Jerusalem Marathon the other day, but they canceled the 40K because of the heat and dust, and they also moved all of the races to like starting at like 5:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. I was like, wow. I do want to run again, but not at that expense. Not at that expense. Okay, so all right, so let's talk about let's just go look at some of the stuff. Oh wait, I'm going to give you a preview. So the president of Argentina, Javier Milei, is visiting Israel. I think he might be opening an embassy. I'm not 100% sure. In the midst of all the Iranian news, I'm just like, wow, like domestic issues, whatever, So he's here. He's definitely like on very good. He has very good relations with Israel. This is his third visit, and when he comes, at least one time in the past, he left, and I don't remember the incident, but I think he left on a Friday or whatever it was. The next day there was some kind of attack. Like it could have been like the Iranian drones back when that was the war within a war, not the war, not the centerpiece war, which it was for the past month. But so even Netanyahu said today, it's like, oh, well, now that you're here and visiting, I'm nervous to think what could happen next. He didn't quite say it like that, but I was listening to an analyst today, Dr. Meir Javedanfar. Man, I would have to practice his name. I'm going to put it in the chat, but I don't think my chat goes to both YouTube and and Facebook. Dr. Meir Javed Anfar. Javed Anfar. Wow, wow, wow. I'm really working hard on that one. Okay, very interesting. He did a briefing for reporters, and he said it's going to go back to fighting. That was his analysis. He said he said, okay, the talks could go on, they could carry on for a while, but eventually it's going to break down because the sides are too far apart. I will get into some of his comments specifically later. And then Trump, let's just go. Let us see the latest that Trump said. This is his quote from today. Okay. Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement. Many of them were aimed at a French ship and a freighter from the United Kingdom. That wasn't nice, was it? My representatives are going to Islamabad, Pakistan. They will be there tomorrow evening for negotiations. Iran recently announced that they were closing the strait, which is strange because our blockade has already closed it. They're helping us without knowing, and they are the ones that will lose with the closed passage $500 million a day. The United States loses nothing. In fact, many ships are headed right now to the US, Texas, Louisiana, and Alaska to load up complements of the IRGC, always wanting to be the tough guy. We're offering a very fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it. If they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy, all caps. They'll come down fast, they'll come down easy, and if they don't take the deal, it will be my honor to do what has to be done, which should have been done to Iran by other presidents for the last 47 years. All caps, it's time for the Iran killing machine to end. President Donald J. Trump. All right, guys, you see it right there that now he is threatening power plants, bridges, and to stop the Iran killing machine. Now, by talking about the Iran killing machine, I wonder, does he mean the IRGC? Does he mean the Islamic Republic itself, which took out many of its people during the previous round of protests that occurred in January? Or is he just talking about the killing machine vis-a-vis the United States, which could be missiles, could be nuclear weapons? I'm not sure. So, but this is, as we have noticed, this is all part of the narrative game that has been going on, that continues to go on and take place between not just President Trump, but also Iran itself. So we also have Iran saying that they are going to not participate in the talks. This was the latest I heard right before I got on the live. But I just want to check in with the chat. And cool, Cindy Lou. Cindy Lou, you didn't miss much because I also took like a day or two or whatever. I don't know. I think I didn't do a live one of these days. Hi, Mike. Welcome back. And I saw oil was $83 a barrel on Friday. Yeah, and I think it went down really fast with this previous announcement as well. So Okay, you think the last statement might be boots on the ground. I mean, maybe there's still, yeah. So according to, and you say that the IRGC is what he means. Well, could be, but he stopped short last time, so I hesitate. Well, anyway, I hesitate to read too much into it anyway, because I feel like the narrative is more part of the fog that he likes to create surrounding the war rather than any representing any actual U.S. military strategy. I mean, that's my opinion so far about what I've seen. Tim, hello, Tim. Tim says he'll nuke him if they play him enough. He's crazy enough. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not. God is ultimately in control. So there's that. Yeah. Thank God for that. Thank God for God being in control. But so I don't know if I'm thinking that they would still go after infrastructure. Israel would probably go back to the targeted assassinations if that's the case, and then they'll see from there what happens. And then, yep, as Mike points out, the whole party is over there still. Yes, and more are joining. The invitations have gone out for the party. So all of the, large port, like I think there's another aircraft carrier that's on its way, and nobody left. There was definitely no military withdrawal, just a ceasefire, which like a pause in the fighting, which, by the way, the pause is holding for Iran, but I didn't get to Lebanon, but I will get to Lebanon. I will get to all of it. Okay, so Tammy says Trump is definitely not going to reveal strategy. Right. So he has everybody spinning their heads. And then the question is, who is he talking to in Iran? So let's go check. I think we're going to check Iran International and see what's going on. So Trump says that U.S. envoys are due in Pakistan on Monday, despite the ceasefire violation, which was shooting at the Hormuz. And I think JD Vance is like getting ready to go. He's going to be. He said he was going to be heading there again, and that's it for. All right, that's it for these guys. What?
Spicy?
What's spicy? Yeah, those are spicy. Did you just bite it? Oh, go for it. I wouldn't dig too deep into it.
Mom.
Not spicy? Okay. No, that's all right. That's all right. You enjoy yourself. All right. So then I'm taking a look at these what do you call it that I have open. Another thing was that Netanyahu said that the war is not over yet. It is spicy. I know. I told her it was spicy. I have like spicy red peppers. Okay. Okay, Cindy. Thank you. Yeah, we solved that. I think thought something was wrong, but it was good. Thank you for checking in. So anyway, let's talk about Iran. Okay, Trump says we still have a deal. We're still going to talk. Otherwise, we're going to end the killing machine. Iran, last I heard, I thought I had the, I do have it up somewhere. Hold on. Oh, yes. Okay. Well, it's not a flat out refusal. Sorry, I couldn't find the, what do you call it? The tab. I have so many tabs open. Okay. No decision yet on sending negotiators to Pakistan. Now, by the way, this website is associated with the IRGC. So this is obviously coming from their point of view. And this, I don't know when this was posted, but since I right before I started the live, Iran has apparently, according to reports, refused to send a negotiating team. Information obtained by Tasnim indicates that exchanges of messages between Iran and the United States have continued in recent days through a Pakistani intermediary following the conclusion of the first round. These exchanges of messages are, in effect, a continuation of the same process that unfolded during the initial round of talks, a process that ultimately failed due to the Americans' excessive demands and ambitions. Since the end of these negotiations, Pakistani intermediary has continued to relay messages between the two sides over the recent period. The Iranian negotiating team, has underscored that as long as President Trump's declaration regarding a naval blockade of Iran remains in place, there will be no negotiations. Okay, that may have already escalated to they are not going, according to what I heard. But anyway, that could just be their narrative, and that could just be adding to the back and forth that we can expect, that we've come to get to know and love. Okay, then we had Netanyahu say today that the fighting is not over, and at any minute they are ready to pick it back up. So we don't know at this point what's going to happen. Now, I listened to a briefing and asked a couple questions of Dr. Meir Javedan Far, and he knows. I mean, he's an expert on Iran. I asked him, because this was my personal interest. Oh wait, I took some notes in my notebook. Well, let me tell you first what he said. Let me back up. He was saying that what's happening in Iran at the moment is that there's a division. There is the military and there is the political. And the military is not wanting negotiations and not wanting to do anything to do with the US, whereas the political side is the one negotiating, that wants to be a part of, or that realizes that the country is about to crash and they need some sort of stability. So the political echelon is seemingly in favor of negotiations, whereas the military is opposed. Now, he said that in the past, the Ayatollah, Ali Khamenei, was the one that held the two together. So he made the decisions, and it didn't matter if there was like one opinion above the other. He was the unifying figure who said, okay, but this is what we're doing. Now, his son, Moshtaba Khamenei, is supposed to be taking his place, but he is apparently incapacitated, as we've heard, and he's not actually leading. So I asked him, is this going to result in some sort of clash or civil war? Here's what he said. He said, and I said, and who wins? Like, well, who's stronger? And he said, the military is definitely stronger, the military side, as opposed to the political echelon. And he said that right now what you're seeing is unprecedented tension between the two. Without having a supreme leader to separate the two.
Oh, you saw me.
Yes, I see you out of the corner of my eye, and I'm trying to focus because there's without a supreme leader to kind of like navigate for the two of them, or tell them here is the way and this is where we're going. That even if Mojo was around, that he may not be seen as legitimate or have consensus, but either way, he's not around really, or he's not really leading. And so he said the chances of friction are very strong. Now, he said, I don't expect to see them start shooting at each other, but we have to look at it this way. The war is going to end, one day or another, whether it's tomorrow with a deal or months later with a war or whatever. But he said that Iran has another ticking time bomb to face, and that is inflation and the economic problems that they're facing. So no matter what, all right. So then he was saying that why is inflation important? Because the military establishment will have to give. They will have to compromise. They will have to give up some. They'll have to give up like some of the budget, for it to go elsewhere. And he said, I don't see them doing this. And so it will make it very difficult for the political echelon to address Iran's economic crisis. Then he said, the Iranian people, like in general, Iran doesn't want foreign powers directing, telling them what to do, attacking anything. I mean, this is the regime. But he said, so that's also going to impact the decisions that they make. But, and here's the kicker, he said, once it ends, whether it's through talks or war or whatever, 6 months to a year, he predicts uprisings will start again because the regime will have refused or failed to address key economic issues. So that was, for me, absolutely fascinating to hear his take on this. He also said that Iran made 2 mistakes since the war ended. He said that number one, they internationalized what was a local conflict. It could have just been Iran, Israel, and the US. But first of all, they internationalized it by hitting like all of the Gulf states, but also by blocking the Strait of Hormuz. And then he said the other mistake was to block the Hormuz, and then which prompted Trump to put the naval blockade, which basically, again, cuts off there, as Trump pointed out, $500 million a day that they are not getting. So he said, basically, this is going to boil down to an economic nightmare for Iran. And let me see if I can. He also put something else very interesting. He said that the UAE was a very good trading partner, but now because they attacked the UAE, and by the way, I just saw a quote that 90% of the attacks on the UAE were on civilian infrastructure, or it was like against civilians, not military. So the UAE has like basically had enough with them. So anyway, okay. So let me see. So basically, the internal economic decline could stir protests, and he predicts once the war ends, between 6 months to a year, that there will be more protests and another uprising by the Iranian people. So that's how this war, that could be the outcome of this war in any case, which is very interesting. Anyway, I really was fascinated by his comments. He had a different take than I've heard from some other people. Okay, so now let's go talk about, let's move over from Iran to Lebanon. And let's talk about the ceasefire that is not a ceasefire in the traditional sense. Whereas you have the ceasefire going on with the US, Iran, Israel, all quiet, nobody's attacking. You've got you got the tension in the Hormuz, but that is now a separate issue than what was going on, in the traditional war before that. But Lebanon is another story. The ceasefire, yes, has consisted of no rockets, missiles, or drones fired by Hezbollah. Since the ceasefire was declared, and I think that was Thursday night or Wednesday night last week, there have been no or was it this weekend? Oh my gosh, guys, the days are an absolute blur. No, it wasn't the weekend. The weekend's yesterday. Today's Sunday, right? Okay, so the no rockets, no missiles, no drones. Okay, so that part. But there are physical confrontations going on in some of the Lebanese villages that the Israeli military is still occupying. So, as part of this agreement, it looks like they don't have to withdraw, or they're not withdrawing. Like they're in there. In fact, two soldiers were killed. Two Israeli soldiers were killed since the ceasefire. There were like explosions going on over there in Binchbil and in another, I think, another location. And so they're still actually fighting in these locations. However, it is contained now to these villages in southern Lebanon. It's very interesting. It's sort of like the Gaza ceasefire, because when the Gaza ceasefire was was declared, or like between Israel and Hamas, there was no day that something didn't happen. It was like pretty much every day, whether Israel did some targeted attack on somebody, they said, oh, like we're going after this guy, and they did Air Force or drone attack or whatever, or Israel said, oh, Hamas violated, or they came out, whatever, like it went on. It's going on to this day. And Israel actually occupies, like they have a security zone there, and they're in Gaza. And also, Walter, if you're still here, you had asked before, or you mentioned that like you never hear about Hamas anymore. Well, unfortunately, I just did recently, and it's not good, for the Gazans. But let me just back up to some of your comments. And Mike rightfully observes that Iran was already in economic decline before the war. Yes, and that was part of the cause of the reason for the last protests that started in late December, early January. That, I mean, it's been actually going on for years, their economic decline, and it has to do with the sanctions that were placed by President Trump. Now, something else that this analyst, Meir Javedenfar, said was that the Iranians were very upset about they liked the JCPOA, the nuclear deal that they made with Obama, and for them, they thought they were being like, they compromised a lot. Like they felt they put themselves out on that one. But when Trump came in and canceled it, they were very shaken by that. Like, oh, now we can't trust the Americans, and how dare they? Like, we compromised. Like, how could they take this from us? So anyway, yeah. So, but then Trump instead slapped sanctions on Iran, and it was already a bad economy, and then it got worse. But I just want to LOL with you, the non-ceasefire, because it's somewhat a non-ceasefire. And Mike says no bombing, but they can defend themselves. Yeah, at least though, I have to say, that's right. That's right. Going back to Iran. That he gave them billions of dollars. And also, I assume you're speaking here about Hamas and about genocide, whether what was going on in Gaza, and they don't bring up Hamas anymore. Yeah, because we've got bigger fish to fry, I guess, because Iran is so much bigger and has way better weapons than Hamas and was at war. So yeah, so everybody forgot. And if you go and look, and I think I do have a story that I'm going to show you about, oh my gosh. So this is Tim. Tim changed his name. He went to Tim, who was watching on Facebook, just jumped onto YouTube, and I had no idea who it was. I was like, oh, a new person I never heard of. Okay, and I just want to say hello to Marsha from Illinois. Thank you for joining. Yeah, so I will get into the Hamas stuff last. So first I'm going to finish up with Lebanon, and then we will make our way down to Gaza. And then we will make our way to sleep eventually and try to get off of wartime, which means you go to bed like at like 1, 2, whatever. It's ridiculous. Tim, don't apologize. It's funny. It keeps us on our toes. This is awesome. Okay. So with Lebanon, so just, this is we talked about like the mixed feelings in Lebanon. Now I'm going to show, oh, all right. Just let me back up that the ceasefire is also in the midst of Israel and Lebanon having introductory normalization talks for the first time in 43 years. They met at the White House, and it was the diplomats. But next time, it's going to be the leaders of the country, which really represents like that they're taking it to the next level. Now, all of this is going on with Hezbollah fighting Israel, Hezbollah in Lebanon, but not representing Lebanon, fighting Israel. And the fact that Lebanon is willing to negotiate with Israel while Israel has a military presence in the south of the country is extremely interesting. That's what makes this very, mind-blowing news. Now, that I haven't heard too much about, like whether or not they've made progress or if even they have dates for the next round of talks. But I have seen some stories about what people are thinking in, or what's going on in Lebanon. First of all, we're going to go to this article. There's this thing called the yellow line. The yellow line is the new security zone. Just reading a little bit of this article, the Israeli army on Saturday said it has established a so-called yellow line in southern Lebanon, similar to measures used in Gaza, which we just talked about, and claimed it targeted individuals approaching the area. In a statement, the military said its forces operating in what is described as the yellow line zone south of the Litani River has identified over the past 24 hours a terrorist cell who violated the ceasefire understandings and approached the forces from the north of the yellow line in a manner that posed an immediate threat. Okay, so this is the first time that Israel has used this term. And because they came under attack, they're not restricted by the ceasefire to respond. Okay, so later in a written statement to Anadolu, which is the outlet that I'm reading from right here, the army said that armed individuals were identified approaching Israeli forces south of the yellow line and that troops opened fire to eliminate the threat. No response from Lebanon or Hezbollah. On Friday, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun said he was ready to take all necessary steps to secure Israel's withdrawal and save the country. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said Israel intends to maintain control over all areas it occupied in southern Lebanon during the recent offensive. Okay, so the ceasefire was announced Thursday. Okay, so it's supposed to be 10 days. So far, that is holding just in terms of the fact that let's say, the regular people, the non-combatants, whether it's the military or Hezbollah, have somewhat returned to normal. Like the people in northern Israel are now released to, go back to school, to work, whatever they had been like restricted. And anyway, they don't have much time to get to a shelter. So if there is a rocket or missile, whatever, they can't get to there. Basically, you just have to live your life in a shelter if you want to stay safe. So you're cooked. That's another way to put it, is you're cooked. So they are able to go back to regular life. Also, the Lebanese, well, not all the Lebanese have gone back. Many of them in the south cannot go back, but there are no bombings in Beirut. There are no bombings actually, as far as I can tell, there's no bombings at the moment of anything. I think it's just more like, face-to-face conflict. It's like on the ground, pretty much. There may have been a few, Israel does targeted strikes, and they may have done one or two of those, as far as I could tell, unless that was anyway. Yeah, we can see you, Raya. And yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Okay. Israel got rid of lots of the Hezbollah people. I think they said 500, but is that right? Is that right? I don't know. Okay. I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Dad's thoughts. If the IRGC is as fanatical as the Nazis, then more war will happen. The Nazis fought until Russian troops were at the door of Hitler's bunker. Hi, Lucas. And they are, it looks like they are more inclined to war and not compromise, as opposed to the political echelon. So a lot of people are just expecting war. And according to that analyst today, he really said, this is what's happening. So I was like, wow. He said it's just a matter of when, like, how long will it be extended, the ceasefire? But no matter what, he thinks it will end in fighting, not an actual agreement. By the way, there's also the thing in the slow cooker. I mean, you cook and then it doesn't matter. She just makes like this big thing anyway. Like it's like, why did I bother? Okay. Anyway, let's talk about, let's say hi to Emily. That's so funny. Yeah. Just catch up later or get the rundown from Carol and John, because they're on too. But yeah. So anyway, but you're here for a very interesting part, I have to say. First, let me cancel this. Okay, you're here for an interesting part, because one of the things that we're going to see is what the Lebanese people are saying. And let's watch this video. This man is it's Sheikh Hassan Moraib, who is, I think they say he's a Sunni leader, Sunni religious leader in Lebanon. So let's see, there are subtitles. So this is 1:21.
نحن نؤيد هذا الأمر، ونحن بحاجة وبأمس الحاجة إلى أن نرى الجيش اللبناني والأجهزة الأمنية منتشرة في كل شوارع بيروت، سواء كانت الشوارع الضيقة أم الشوارع الواسعة. نريد أن نشعر بالأمن والأمان. هناك خوف يعتري كل البيروتيين وكل من يعيش في بيروت ويدخل إليها. أن هناك خوف حقيقة، خوف من أن يتزعزع السلم الأهلي، خوف من الفتنة الداخلية، خوف من أن يكون هناك فريق يريد أن يحكم سيطرته على بيروت. هناك تجربة ماثلة أمامنا في 7 أيار، وهناك كلام كان قد قيل عما حدث في اليمن سابقا عندما سيطر عليها الحوثي، سيطر على صنعاء. فبالتالي هناك خوف طبعا عند اللبنانيين. نحتاج إلى أن نطمئن الجميع من خلال الدولة. نحن نؤكد أنه لا سلاح لنا إلا سلاح الدولة، لا شرعية لنا لأي سلاح إلا لسلاح الدولة الشرعي، سواء كان الجيش اللبناني أم مؤسسات الأجهزة الأمنية. فلذلك نؤكد على هذه النقطة، أن بيروت يجب أن تكون منزوعة السلاح، ويجب أن يأخذ الجيش اللبناني القرار بأن ينتشر في كل المناطق اللبنانية، وبالذات في العاصمة بيروت، لكي يكون هناك عامل اطمئنان. وكل مكان يشك فيه الجيش أن هناك فيه مكان سلاح، يجب أن يضع يده عليه وأن يسحب هذا السلاح، وأن يكون هذا السلاح تحت سلطته وتحت شرعيته هو. لا شرعية لسلاح إلا لسلاح الدولة اللبنانية.
All right. Now that is a huge statement. Just the fact that people are, I mean, I've actually played for you and posted like several of these that people are saying like, okay, enough with enough with Hezbollah, and the weapons need to be taken from them. Weapons need to be only in the hands of the state, and this is the big push that Lebanon's been trying to make since the fall of last year, and Israel has constantly said that if you don't do it, we will. Now, this was the chance where Israel said, "Okay, we're gonna do it. Like, we're jumping in," and clearly everybody, Iran and Hezbollah, gave them the excuse to do it. But things are backing up now. I mean, obviously they had to put the brakes on, but now it looks like the country itself is leaning toward this, like many voices, whereas before they didn't come out as loudly and boldly to say this. You didn't necessarily oppose Hezbollah, but now I've heard many voices opposing Hezbollah and saying that they need to be disarmed and that the weapons need to be only for the army. No non-state militias going on in the country. So very fascinating. Now, look, a certain group, he said it so well. You like that? Like, he never actually used the name. I know, I just put words in his mouth, so sorry about that. But I think we know what he was saying, right? Now, by the way, Tim is asking what's for dinner, but I think the more fascinating answer, I didn't forget about Hamas. Yes, this is the same one talking about the eggs, who, by the way, he perfected it. He made it even better the second time. But forget what's for dinner. Raya, can you get your ice cream? I know she wants to. You hate it?
I ate it.
You ate it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give it back.
In her never-ending experimenting, Raya made matcha ice cream.
It's not good.
Good, then stop eating it if it's not good. Well, anyway, it's very good. It's very sugary, but it's very good. All right. You can take a look. Mind you, there's not much because it was just an experiment. Oh, and it melted already. How do you get it? Because it's been out for a couple minutes. Condensed?
No, it's
Oh, okay. Anyway. All right. So better than dinner was dessert that she's been cooking up for the last couple of days. It's been in the freezer, not freezing. Anyway, okay. So Hamas, let's move on to Hamas, because people are saying, like, what happened? Like, that war, like, it's not, speaking of disarming, Hamas also not really wanting to disarm. And in fact, why would they, when they are actually controlling the Gaza Strip? And let me see where I have. All right. This is not, I couldn't find a video. But I heard this story, but now I'm just going to read it to you from the Ynet Instagram page. This is the only one I can find. I saw it on the news yesterday. Rare testimonies from, it's in the Daily Mail. I'll look it up in the Daily Mail. Okay. Reveal how Hamas members are blackmailing and exploiting women, especially widows and divorcees who turn to charity organizations. Their vulnerability is taken advantage of, and the situation is getting worse day by day. While global attention is focused on the campaign against Iran and its regional implications, troubling accounts are emerging from the Gaza Strip that depict a different reality unfolding far from the front lines. Residents are beginning to break their silence, describing a recurring pattern of extortion and sexual exploitation by Hamas, which has continued to rule the enclave with an iron grip since the ceasefire with Israel, targeting vulnerable women, mainly widows and divorcees, struggling to secure food and basic aid. Okay, and it's from Juicer News. I was looking up, actually, I was trying to look for their website. I know this this outlet, Juicer. Let me see. But okay, I was just checking their Telegram account. Okay. Um, the involvement of individuals linked to Hamas and in some cases efforts to suppress the incidents. The backdrop includes a collapse of civilian systems, a worsening humanitarian crisis, and a troubling rise in phenomena such as child marriage and teenage pregnancy. In this environment, fear and dependency leave many victims without a voice. Human rights groups in Gaza say up to 60,000 women are at risk. In one testimony, a Gaza resident speaking anonymously, described finding a displaced widow being sexually assaulted inside a tent by a group of Hamas operatives and being warned not to speak out. We were contacted by the wife of a friend. She had asked a Qassam Brigade's commander to help her, but he took advantage of her, he said. His behavior is disgraceful. We investigated the matter and found her in a tent in an area where a bunch of Qassam members were taking advantage of her. We informed the leadership, but we were told we had to keep silent about it. All right. Wow. Well, that is vile, guys. There is a lot of news such as that coming out. There were also, they are rounding up collaborators or anybody. Collaborators get killed, but also people who speak against Hamas, not necessarily for intelligence purposes, just like protests or whatever. They shoot them in the legs. And they just leave them like that, as opposed to killing them. So anyway, so those are some of the things that are going on in Gaza. Now, I'm sure there's more, and I'm sure I would, I'll keep my ears open for more. I'll look for more news, whatever on that. But for now, that's enough to know. So anyway, that's a little bit of the roundup from over here. Sorry, I'm just laughing at some of your comments. But so Emily says it's terrible. They left such a vacuum there with no help from any side. Like, what was the plan after all that? Yeah, so the plan was to get funding and to rebuild, and there's supposed to be like the Gaza Board of Peace. There's supposed to be different countries that were going to send their military to be like the administrators, the military administrators in the Strip, and then Hamas was supposed to give up their weapons. So we are in this real nebulous stage that it has not gone to a phase two. I mean, phase one was the return of the hostages and also release of Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. That happened a long time ago. That it's been done for a while, but the next phase has not continued because anyway, we're on to another war. So, all right. Well, I think that's it. I'm just like looking around at the fact that Raya's entire wardrobe has moved into the living room now, like the entire, like, clothes everywhere, because she has to try on her outfit for school tomorrow.
I'm sorry, I'm not. First I have to wake up extra early just to do my stupid hair, but I'm probably just gonna do it the night before.
Okay, good. That's great. Unbelievable. It's like the war that never ends is actually like the stuff is keeping it clean here. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Tim, a lot of evil stuff going on. It's really dark what's happening there. It's almost like Islamic regime stuff happening down there in Gaza. Yeah. I Mike says Turkey wanted to send troops as to Gaza, of which Israel was like, yeah, no, not happening. I did an article on that. I interviewed somebody who very interesting analyst, expert. He's Israeli, but he's an expert on Turkish issues, and he was saying that like, because I said, why is Trump insisting, on Turkey when Netanyahu is insisting, no, I don't want Turkey there, and he said that Turkey, with its access to Syria, gives Trump and the U.S. access to Syria for the first time, because the U.S. administration has never had inroads in Syria. It's always been like the French and then Iran and Russia and Turkey. But if Erdogan would say, okay, Trump, here's this, here's that, whatever, like that, like, let's make a deal and just give me some troops in Gaza, which is why Trump looked like he wanted troops in Gaza at some point. And he then explained, this analyst, that there's also like the oil fields. Now, shortly after that, there was the uprising against the Kurds. Do you remember that, in Syria? And they were pushed out of some areas where, guess what is there? Oil fields. Yeah. So this is sometime between October 9th, when the ceasefire was signed, between Hamas and Israel, and February 28th. I mean, not a lot of time, right? November, December, January, and February. 4 months. In that 4 months, this happened. So let's see. Emily says, can we vote on Raya's outfit? You could, but it won't matter, because until every article of clothing has been trotted out and tried on and then thrown somewhere and then unrecognizable, like, oh, is it laundry or clean? Can't even tell now because it's all just in a pile on the floor. Until then, you will not have an outfit still. And then up until the last minute in the morning, you will not know what that outfit will be. And mind you, all of the outfits are a different pair of jeans paired with a different t-shirt. They're all the same. They're all the same. And they're all pretty much colorless. So anyway, yeah. So thank you anyway, but I think I have another couple years of weathering this before we figure anything out. Okay. And Mike says the new leader of Syria is saying Golan is Syria now too. It's so interesting. They just had, they're actually talking about that on TV right now on this news. I don't know what they're saying because I'm focusing here, but I saw them like Ha'am Ima Julan instead of Golan. Now, there's an Israeli bumper sticker that says like Ha'am Ima Golan, which is like the people support the Golan Heights, but Jolan is like Julani, but it's also, by the way, his name means Golani, like the Golan Heights, right? So anyway, but this guy, you can't trust. It's again a narrative thing. Like, he's getting propped up by all the world leaders, and like, how is he there? How? Anyway, Syria, old news, because like we're looking at Iran, right? Syria is like nothing now in the scope of all the story. It was like the big story before. And now it's like they're all little stories in waiting until we go back to like, are we having talks or are we having war? No idea. So anyway, all right. Now, I am going to do my own battle, which is like between here and my bed. And I'm going to try to make it successfully and try to go to sleep before midnight and try to avoid the outfit crisis that is unfolding and try not to look at the laundry and the clothes and the jeans and the food and everything that is everywhere around me. So if I can just go like this straight, then I will have been successful. And trust me, these are the little victories I'm looking for. Okay, nothing big, just that. That's all I want. Okay. I'm looking at my phone. There's more news popping up, but it's not breaking. It's not a big deal. Okay, guys, this was great. Really good night. Good chats. Very interesting. And thank you all. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for chiming in. That's the best part. So anyway, probably see you tomorrow night. We'll see what happens. All right. Have a good day or a good night wherever you are. Ciao.